This way, if you do need to go back to it later, I'll be sending a link to Anna, and she can give that to you in case she has something. So again, my name is Brittany. The library guide that you'll be using to complete this assignment is in front of you. The libgods.mnstate.edu/arthistoryi, Roman numeral 2, basically. And right now I see that I have 6 of you here. I'm going to wait just a little bit, and then I'm going to do a screen capture of all your names, and that will be how Anna knows that you did show up today. You'll get credit for that. All right, before we get started, any questions for me? Can everybody see the share that I have that has like my name and the library guide? Is that in front of you? I always like to double check that because sometimes the screen sharing is a little bit weird. And you know, although I'm pretty good at Zoom, there's always some glitchy things. All right, so I'm gonna stop that share for a second. Just check out who I've got: Jack, Ashley, Emily, Tommy, Brooke, and Brooklyn. Okay. Right. I am going to share my screen again. This time it's going to be different. So this is the actual website that we're going to use today. If I click on the home button, just a reminder that you have to find at least 2 peer-reviewed resources. And this is like a high caliber resource that's evaluated by experts for your bibliography. So I'm going to concentrate on a couple things today. One is taking your artwork, finding it on the website for that particular museum or gallery, gleaning what you can from that, because there's often a little bit more information there. Also using the Oxford art resource for finding out more about your author or the genre that you are looking at. Finding books, and often you have to go outside of our library to find some of the books on your artists and your artworks, things like exhibition catalogs, but we have a lot of resources. Finding articles, and also how you do interlibrary loan if you are not in the Fargo-Moorhead area. So if you are completely a distance education student doing all your courses, or most of them online, and or you don't live in our area, I will show you that tab that tells you how to get things delivered to you. And that's important. You don't have to go to another library. You will actually mail them to your place of residence. So make sure I don't forget to do that. All right. So, literature types in art history. I used to have a great website at Stanford University that defined all of these, and they took it down. So I do have definitions for the monographs, the catalogue raison, exhibition catalogs, and ephemera. The rest of them are pretty easy to Google or look in your textbook for that definition. Those are the types of art history literature that are acceptable. Also, over on the right-hand side is my picture and my email and my office number and my phone number. I will say I'm usually on campus about 3 days a week, and it varies depending upon my schedule. After COVID, I'll be here every day, Monday through Friday. My office, if I'm here, it's Library 118. The best way to get a hold of me, and I really do encourage you, if you have any problems with this assignment, you can contact me. Email is absolutely the best. I check it several times a day. I even check it on the weekends, even though I'm not supposed to. So I'm very likely to get back to you very, very quickly. And if you need it, we could schedule just a Zoom with 1 or 2 of you and me if you're having some particular issues. We can do that. Okay. So all that stuff being said, I'm going to click on websites. So in your D2L, you have all these different types of artworks, like vessels, like still life. And Professor Arnar has divided those up between the Minneapolis Institute of Art, which is required, and then the non-MIA. And so it's very easy to tell where it's coming from. It has listed it for you. So I'm not going to go into that, but I'm going to do the MIA first. And I've just taken some of the examples that Anna has given you and the ones you are required to choose from, and just tried to find out information about them. So the MIA, it is best to start out under art and artists. And I hope you are taking notes, because if you're doing this later and you just try to search in the big search blank, it doesn't work very well. So I do suggest for this particular website, you do art and artists. And then, let's see, I gotta move you guys so I can see. I believe it's under Explore the Art. And then there should be a search blank. Yes, search for artworks in MIA's collection. And the searching, I like to say, is a little bit cumbersome. I usually choose a couple of keywords. So if there is an artist name, I like to put maybe their last name. And if there's something from the name of the piece, maybe I'll put that down. In some cases, there's no name of the piece, like in vessels. A lot of times they don't name them. They just say bronze vessel from whatever year. That makes it a little more difficult. So when you do your search, if you've chosen what you want, you might have to scroll through a few pages to find what it is. But she's given you the photograph from the exhibition, from the gallery. So you should be able to match it up with that photograph. So I'm going to do just a simple one. It's one of your first choices under D2L. And it is an artist called R-I-H-E-I, Rihai maybe, Japanese. And I'm going to put, and make sure spelling is very important. And I'm going to try putting ewer in there because that's the type of vessel it is. And magically, I got the right one. And there might be some other ones. In this case, this is the only one that is called a ewer, and it is by that artist. So although Professor Arnar has kind of given you a lot of that information, sometimes as you scroll through, you might see some more information. For example, this is from the Mary Griggs Burke collection. It was a gift of Mary and Jackson Burke Foundation, and it looks like from 2015. It's from the 15th to 16th century. It is bronze. Something you might want to know is that sometimes these are called kandika. So if you're going to be doing this one, and you want to not only look at the artist, which might not have that much information on him or her, you might also want to search ewers, kandika, Japan. So think of those keywords that are going to help you. And I'll just do another quick one here. And you can just go up to the top here and delete it and start over. And I'm going to do another vessel. And this one, I'm going to look for Tanabe Chikansai. And I'm looking for a basket. And here's an example of what happens when they've got a lot of things by this person. But because I've got the photograph, I think it's this handled one. If it's not, I'll look again. Nope, this is the wrong one. They look a lot alike. This one says it's a diamond-shaped flower basket. So I'm going to try to be a little more specific. So I've got the person's name and I've got basket, but this particular one says it is a Chinese style one. So I'm going to do, ooh, looks like I messed up. Tabe Chikansai Chinese style flower basket. Let's see if I got too specific here. All right, let's see, what do we get? I think this is the one. It's just a slightly different picture than what she has, but if you look at the shape of it, and if you look at the description, it matches. It says it's autumn 1921, and that is bamboo and lacquer, and it's this particular gift. So it is the right one. So let's how you use the MIA one. You would do the same thing with if it's a genre painting or a still life or anything else. That's all you do. All right, I'm going to get out of this. Yeah, I'm just going to go back. All right, hopefully you're seeing Art234 and we're on the websites tab. And I'm going to do a different one this time, and I'm going to do the Art Institute of Chicago. I'm still in vessels, and I'm not going to do this for every single one. I just want you to see what we have here. And theirs is a little bit different. We have to look around a little bit. And we could try exhibitions and events. I would probably say the collection here. They've actually changed it around since I was on here. Okay, the collection, artworks. You're going to start to see most of these museums are about the same as they do their stuff. Okay, there's the collection, artworks. There's the search by keyword, artist, or reference. So I'm interested in, it's called a Caudle, C-A-U-D-L-E, cup by Jeremiah Dummer. See if I just put those words in, if it'll work for me. And there it is, Caudle cup, 1690. Actually very pretty. Art Institute of Chicago. And here you get more information. So what Professor Arnar only gave you the name of it, who it was, the year, and the museum. Now you know that its origin was in Boston. It is silver. It's got inscriptions on it. You've got the dimensions, so you get a lot more information that's going to help you. And that is how you search the Art Institute of Chicago. Then I'm going to try something from the Smithsonian. Come on. And I'm going to do art and artists again. Search the collection. And this one is, looks like it is a Bauhaus style dish. It doesn't seem to have a listed artist from 1930. So let's see, this one might give us a lot. I'm just going to try a Bauhaus dish. No results. Okay. Let me try. Okay. I'm kind of okay with this not working right away because it does show you sometimes you're going to have to work a little bit harder on these. Let's see. Well, I'm getting saucers and tea lids and teacups. And saucers and teacups and a sugar bowl. So I might have to come back to this one. I'm going to double check. And maybe it got moved away from the site after she added it. And if it did, I will definitely let her know that. Okay, so I used vessels as my example this time. I'm going to do a couple more. So let's do something, a genre one from the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston. And this one is a Mary Cassatt afternoon tea party from 1891. And for this one, I think we're going to do collections. Collection search. And then search the collections at the top. So I'm just going to do Cassatt Tea Party. Crossing my fingers. There it is. Well, no, actually, that's a different one. This is called The Tea by Mary Cassatt from 1880. It is not Afternoon Tea Party. So I'm going to clear my filters. And I'm going to try just Mary Cassatt. Okay, see what it's supposed to look like. Still not it. But it looks like I can go through and eventually I'm going to find it. Okay, so I'm going to stop my share for a second. All right, does everybody understand that they have to do this choosing amongst the ones in D2L? Look at it in the gallery that it's in or the museum that it's in, take notes, and that's kind of your first step. Does anybody have questions about doing that? Are we good? It's really not hard. It just might take a couple of searches to be able to get it because the way that they put the keywords in, it just differs by museum. It's not the same as searching in the library, unfortunately. We try to make it a little easier. All right, I'm going to start sharing again. Okay, are you seeing Museum of Fine Arts Boston? Is that where we are? Okay, I'm going to switch out of that. So websites, I've given you basically a link to every one of the museums that is listed in your D2L, plus a couple of other ones. I know for sure you have to use MIA. I know that there are some in the National Gallery, Art Institute of Chicago, the Met, the Getty, the Smithsonian. I know V&A and Museum of Fine Arts Boston. I'm not sure if the Venice Biennale has anything this time. All right, reference sources. The main reference source that I know on your worksheet that you have to use is Oxford Art Online. Your textbook might call it the Globe Dictionary of, or the Grove, not Globe. Thinking about Shakespeare here, the Grove Dictionary of Art. It's the same thing. So Oxford Art Online is not to be used for one of your two peer-reviewed sources, because what it is, it's basically an encyclopedia. However, it's great because it will give you background information. Also, if you don't know what a genre painting is, you can look it up and it'll probably give you the definition. It's probably most useful if you choose something that's by an artist that's at least somewhat famous. It's also useful for looking up something like what a ewer is or a vessel is. So definitions and also basic information on your artist. Okay, here we go. So you can search it super easy. I'm going to do Mary Cassatt. You know, she's in there. And there she is. And we do not have access to all the content in this. So if it's got a lock on it that's red, that means we didn't pay for that content. So this photograph, yeah, I could kind of look at that, but I'm not going to be able to really go into it and really look at the detail. But we do have access to most of the biographical articles, and that's what you're really looking for. So this Mary Cassatt, second one down, looks like the lock is open and it's green. And notice that it's in the Grove Art Online collection. So her name is Mary Stevenson Cassatt. She was born in Allegheny City, which is now Pittsburgh, in 1844, and she died in France. This particular biographical and critical article was published in 2003. Here's her life and work. There's going to be hyperlinks to topics that are related that you can click on. Basic overview, some of her most famous works. Her working methods. So actually, if you chose something by her, this would be helpful. Now, what you can do is look at the bibliography and see what they relied upon to write this article. And there might be something in the bibliography that will meet your standards for it being a scholarly peer-reviewed resource. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. So for example, that J.K. Huysmans L'Art Moderne, maybe if I go to that and I can look on the library catalog to find that, maybe that is something that I could use. Or this catalog raison that is from Washington, D.C. from 1970 from AD research. So I could take notes on that, and then the next thing we're going to do is drag in one search, and then I'd be able to find that. And that is what used to, well, it's Grove Art online, but it's within the Oxford collection. So you look for it under Oxford. I listed some other reference sources like the Encyclopedia of Aesthetics, Bibliography of the History of Art, Native American artists, and some things that we physically have in the library. All right, I'm going to click on Finding Books. And art students actually still use books because a lot of those catalogs and things that we have are physical, and they are actual publications, like a catalog raison or an exhibition catalog or a monograph. So unlike some other students that probably mostly rely on journal and magazine articles, you guys will be doing both. And Dragon One Search is our huge catalog of everything that we have. And I'm just going to go into that. It's also the very top thing on the library homepage. It's pretty easy to find. And I'm going to sign in with my star ID and password. Okay. Now, I didn't put a search in, so it's just giving me garbage here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something called an advanced search. Doesn't mean it has to be super fancy. It just gives you more options. And although I love to see what we have, I think in interest of time, since you probably know how to do that, I'm going to switch to all the libraries in our MN PAL system. And that's not everything we have access to. We can search U of M, we can search other libraries too. But this is kind of our state system libraries. And if I wanted to do, and I promise I won't do Mary Cassatt all the time, I've got some other things up my sleeve. And I'm interested in exhibition catalogs. I'm going to put Mary Cassatt in my first blank because I definitely want her name to be in there. And I didn't put exhibition right next to it because maybe those three words wouldn't be all together. And normally I might want to play around with the publication date, but because she's been dead for a while, I'm going to go and hit ahead and click search. If I was doing a modern artist, I might do something different. So here's a book, Mary Cassatt by Julia Larson. It says check for available services. That probably means that it is available at more than one library. Another one, Mary Cassatt, Modern Woman from 1998. Check for available resources. I'm just going to choose number 2. So right now, all I'm seeing is the cover of the book and some basic information, who wrote it, what year, that kind of stuff. But now I see that it's available at a lot of libraries in our system. Not our library for some reason, but that's okay because that means that a lot of libraries have it. So if I want it, all I have to do is how to get it, interlibrary loan. And I'm going to show you that tab about that later too, just to kind of make sure you see it. And if it is a book, you need to make sure that it's got book title. It should fill in most of the other information for you. You don't have to do pickup date or whatever, but what you do have to do, if you are only if you are a distance student, if you live in town or nearby and you're taking a mixture of classes, you do have to come in and pick it up. And it's going to take probably about 2 days to get it, and you'll get an email. It's important that you're logged in with your star ID and password. That's how we know who you are, and it will link up to your account. But say you live in Minneapolis. I don't expect you to come up here to get that book. So under the comment, I believe you put distance student, and I'll double check that in the tab, but you just have to let us know that. And then whatever address is linked to your MSU account, we'll send it to that. So that's really it. And don't worry about language or when convenient or willing to pay. You don't have to pay. Then you just send the request and you're done. And hopefully that book it'll probably take a little bit longer if you are at a distance for us to deliver it to you, but it is postage free for you. And you can also, we're going to send you a postage applied envelope for you to return it back to us. So we try to make it good for you. Any questions about that? All right. I'm going to X out of that. We'll talk more about interlibrary loan in just a second. And I'm going to go to some other catalogs here. MinLink, I'm not going to go to that one, but that is sort of it's all the libraries in our system, even public libraries are there. WorldCat is sort of the big library of everything. And I'm going to just do a quick search there. All right, I guess I got to accept some cookies there. I like to do advanced search. And I have decided, I noticed that one of the artists is James Peele. So I'm going to do James Peele. And I'm going to do exhibition. And I'm going to double check. I'm going to do title searching this time, because otherwise I'm going to get too much. So again, what WorldCat is doing is it's searching pretty much every library. And then it will usually put ones that are closer to you at the top. So for example, this very first one, I'm going to click on it. It's from the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. And then it looks like you can view part of it in HathiTrust, which is a digital library, but Concordia has it. So if you did an interlibrary loan request, you would be able to get that from Concordia delivered to here. Then I believe we would then send that to you if you are at a distance. If you're not at a distance, you'll get an email and you'll be able to come up and pick that up. So that's really nice that it is just, just down the street here at Concordia. You can also search the U of M. And I'm going to try the James Peele exhibition again. Paintings and Watercolors by James Peale and His Family. It's a book, and it is free and open access and online. Looks like there's something about him in this Encyclopedia of Popular Culture. Here's something that is a journal article. So I didn't only search for books, but I have access to these. Okay. Stopping my share. Did I lose anybody in that process? Does everybody understand? Everybody good? Okay. Great. I probably got about 10 more minutes of information for you. The Met has online art books that are free to use if you don't mind having to read them online. And Hathy Trust is a trust of a collection of libraries that has digitized a lot of books. Sometimes you can't get the whole book, sometimes you can, and it might be worth checking both of those out. Okay, I'm going to skip over to interlibrary loan for distance students. So if you are a distance education student registered at MSUM, we will mail you things. We will also copy articles from journals MSUM owns and send a PDF copy to your email. And in the comment section, you just have to, like I said, say that you're a distance ed student. How to request an interlibrary loan. If you are in one of our databases that has interlibrary loan built in, it will tell you. It will either have an ILL or interlibrary loan button. And then all you have to do is click it, answer a couple of questions. And if it is an article, it will be sent to you as a PDF in your email. If it is a book, it'll either come here for you to pick up, or if you're a distance student, it'll be mailed to you. And on the library's homepage, there is an interlibrary loan request, and it's under services. Okay, finding articles. This is the part I find that can be a little more frustrating, because I think for most of you, you're going to find probably a catalog or an exhibition on your artist. But sometimes your artist might not be as, although they're in a big museum, they might not have as many scholarly peer-reviewed articles written by them, about them. So a scholarly, peer-reviewed, high-caliber resource is something that is in an academic scholarly journal, or it is published through a scholarly process. If it is a journal, most of our databases will actually say peer-reviewed when you're looking at it. Sometimes you can't tell. So before we even search for articles, I'm just going to tell you, and by the way, finding high caliber sources, Professor Arnar and I worked on that, and this is really good information for you to read. Ulrich's Web, it's a weird name, but it's this publisher that takes every journal, magazine, newspaper, online and offline and print, and it will tell you more about it. So Ulrich's Web, I found an article when I was doing my search in something called the Art Journal. And it's Mary Cassatt's Images of Women and it was from 1976. So although it says journal in the title, I'm like, I don't know, Ladies Home Journal has journal in the title, and that's not a peer-reviewed source. So I'm going to type in Art Journal. And usually it's going to come up at the very top, and it's usually going to be the one with the star. And it looks like it's from the College Art Association. It is currently active. And if I click on it, just in case I had any doubts, it's going to tell me that it's in English. It says that it is a journal. It says that its content is academic, scholarly, and it also says refereed. That is just a fancy word for it is peer reviewed. So I know I'm good to go with using this resource. Again, my database is probably going to tell me already, but some databases don't. So I just want you to know that ULRICS, you can type in the name of the journal, not the article, not your author's name, the name of the journal, and it will tell you whether it is scholarly peer reviewed. Okay. Dragon One Search, we used it to find books. You can find articles in it too. I'm just going to show you real quick how you do that. So again, you have to switch it to advanced search. Then what you do is you do articles and more. This time I'm interested in James Peele. And I might, if I had, if I knew that it was a still life that I'm interested in, I could put that in there. I can also put in something like art just to make sure there's not some James Peele that's a scientist. Here we go. James Peele the younger, James Peele the elder, James Peele, portrait of James Peele. Notice that most of these say they're available online. So to get them, I have to click the available online. It still doesn't give me the article. Then what it's going to do is it's going to find it in one of our databases. And this one happens to be in JSTOR. And I know JSTOR is one of the databases that Professor Arnar mentions on your worksheet. Then I would click into it, and then the article would actually come up. You can look at it page by page, or normally you can download the PDF. Academic Search Complete is one of our best databases. It's an EBSCO database, and 3 of our databases that we can use today are that, and they search the same and they look. Okay, for this one, another artist that's one of your options is Eastman Johnson. And because this is a multidisciplinary database that's not just about art, I'm going to put the word art in the second line. And I found 21 resources. In this case, if it says academic journal next to it, that means it is peer reviewed. So you're good to go on that. Something else that I noticed, I don't know if we're going to see it here, but I know with Mary Cassatt, when I did some research, there is some interesting stuff from the scientific community about women artists that was coming up. And I know that Professor Arnar has put it either on your worksheet or in your assignment guidelines that she's not interested in those kinds of perspectives right now. She really wants you to find something that's in an art journal. So if it's like a feminist studies and it's not really focusing specifically on art, put that to the side. You might want to read it anyway, but don't use it as one of your resources. If it's something that's a scientific perspective, also just gloss over that also. So this one is in an American International Journal of the Humanities, so it might be all right. The effects of the Civil War on children in the paintings of Eastman Johnson. That sounds okay to me. Eastman Johnson's Negro Life at the South and Urban Slavery in Washington, D.C. Geographic Mobility and Domesticity in Eastman Johnson's The Tramp. American Art, we already looked that one up, right? Nope, we looked up Art Journal. But I know if I put American Art in ULRICS, it's going to say it's a journal. And also I don't have to do that because it's going to say academic journal. So all of these, if you click on them, are either going to be PDF full text or HTML, or it's going to say interlibrary loan. And you click on that, it'll log you in, or you might have to put in your star ID and password, and then we will grab that journal somewhere and send it to your email. Art full text search is exactly the same way, but it is specifically about art. And I want to show you something. So you can put your artist in here, that will work. But remember, our very first thing we searched was a ewer. It's a vessel. And I'm going to show you a trick. I'll explain it in just a second. So if I typed EWER and used the asterisk right after the R, that's called using a wildcard in its truncation, and it will get me anything that starts with ewer. So I'm looking for singular or plural. Japan, I'm looking for Japan or Japanese. And I'm going to search this. I don't need to put art in this one because it's a database about art. And here are, even if I don't find the artist that did my ewer, I can look at what some other ones are. Also, remember that I said that Karamono was one of the other ones. So here's another trick. I can put the or in between either ewer asterisk or Karamono asterisk and Japan. And it increased my results. It doubled them. So think about how some words can be singular or plural, or you can maybe truncate them. Also, do not put too many words in one blank or you're not going to get great results, because every time you add a word, you get less results. And JSTOR, I just want to show you what that one looks like. JSTOR is not going to give you anything from the most recent 4 years, but it is great for things that go way back in time. There are articles from the 1800s in here. I always do an advanced search in JSTOR, and I'm going to do Mary Cassatt for my first one. And I've decided, because JSTOR is so huge, I don't want an article that just mentions hers one time. So I'm going to search the title. And there are 69 results. Looks like something from the Bulletin of the Pennsylvania Museum from 1927. Woman's Art Journal, American Magazine of Art, Art Institute of Chicago Quarterly. JSTOR is going to be good for a lot of your topics. And I'm going to go back to my advanced search and do another quick one. And I'm going to do the ewers, and it does not support the asterisk truncation. So I'm going to choose either Japan or Japanese. I'm going to try ewers Japanese. So what I'm trying to do is show you that you can tackle this from who your artist is. You could tackle it from the name of the work of art, but that's in most cases not going to glean you very much. There's some very famous works on there, so maybe. And you can tackle it from what kind of artwork it is. So what I like about this one, look at all these images that come up for comparison's sake. And then here are articles. And all of these are full text and they're all PDFs. All right. And I'm just going to close out here. Don't go yet. I haven't done a screenshot of you guys so that you get your information. There's also citing sources, and it leads you to Chicago Manual on the Purdue OWL site. Some information about how you evaluate a source and tell us something is peer-reviewed, although we talked about that today. A reminder about the interlibrary loan for distant students. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to participants. Let me just do a screen capture here. going to let me do a screen capture. Maybe I can just copy and paste. That's really weird. Okay, don't leave yet. All right, I've got Ashley. It's not letting me do it. Give me just a second here. Find another way. Thought this would be super easy. Oh, I think I got everybody. Ashley, Brooke, Brooklyn, Emily, Kanami, and Jack. I gotcha. All right, let me just send that somewhere before we stop. I want you to get your credit. Stop it. Okay, I got that. All right, one last check-in. Any questions? Do you need any more information from me to get running on your project? Okay, well, I'm gonna stop the recording in a second, and I will pass this along to Anna in case there are questions. And then also remember that my email and contact information is on the main page. Good luck with your projects.